Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Obvio Q&A, another exciting episode. It may be it may be a little bit quieter today. I think lots of the leapers were in a mastery day today, so they're
Oh,
maybe a little bit quieter, but maybe not. That's not everyone. That's not all the users of Obvio. So we'll see what questions we come up with. So no one's posted any questions yet. So there's that. But
I have a question. I do have a question.
excellent. Take it away.
Well, I have two questions. Well, I have two questions. Could you just take me through getting into the dashboard again? Whatchamacallit, I did it, but then I need a refresher to, so I can invite people to the dashboard to
Okay.
my event.
Yep.
And
Okay. So you, yes.
I just have another question. I have a team member who's listed as a team member, but when she gets onto Ovio, she can't get into all the places that I need her to get into. She doesn't have access to everything. I thought as a team member, she would be able to get into, especially this event that I'm going to do on Friday.
Hmm. Yeah. So that's there's the roles that you can set up, and you can set up the scope of what each of those
Oh, I can
roles
set up. Oh,
entails. Okay, and so it's likely that
I didn't give her
uh,
enough roles. I
access.
didn't
Yeah,
give her
that's
enough
right.
scope. Okay.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So what you do, I'll show you that first.
Okay.
Um, Up in when you're looking at your event, or when you're looking at
Right.
your event, you're going to see the organization details here,
Right.
and
And the
then under there
team.
you go to team.
The team.
Yeah,
Right.
team will go to
Right.
members, and then you'll hit roles, right?
Right.
And uh, then you'll set up however many roles you want to do. You can add and create a name. Normally, we want to set up one called admin that sort of gives them access to pretty much everything, and
Everything. Okay.
that's probably what's missing at the moment, is that you just need
Okay.
to be able to
Okay.
add in a few more of those
Okay.
um, yeah,
Okay.
the
Good.
scope. Yeah.
Okay.
All
I'll
right.
go back
So
in. I
that's
see.
hmm.
I'll go
Now
back
tell
in,
me.
Grant. I see that.
Okay, great. Tell me more about your event. How is it what is it that how are you going to give access to your attendees? What's your plan there?
Well, you know what? I got my dashboard late. I mean, if worst comes to worst, I'll just do it through Zoom, which I've done before. I mean, I have the people that are
Okay.
coming and I've been having, because I have Kit, so I've been communicating with them through Kit. But I
Okay,
did
great.
want to be able, but I did want to be able to use the dashboard. So I did a
Hmm.
little tutorial, but I realized I didn't do it enough times for it to really stick, even though I took notes. So I went back to my notes and what can I tell you? It's like I feel like a fool, but that's what happened. Hope someone else once had that experience as well.
So in Kit, are you have you been able to get the Obvio magic link going back into Kit? Is that
No,
okay?
I haven't.
All right. How many attendees are you dealing with for this event?
I have 10.
Okay.
But I have four, I think I have 10.
Okay.
And I'm just about my VA was tagging them in Kit. So they need to be tagged, right? So that we can create the magic link,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
right?
So that yes, so that Kit will then know who to send through to Obvio, and Obvio sends back to Kit and gives the magic link.
Okay.
With 10, I mean, something that you can do is you can send it directly. You can send an email directly from Obvio.
Oh,
Okay. And that could be an easy way of doing it.
because they are
So
registered. I registered them and they are in Obvio as attendees. I did that manually.
okay, okay. Yes. So sending an email just directly
Directly
from
from
Obvio could be an easier way of doing it just for this time. I can show you quickly how to do that.
okay.
Um, hey Marla, have you got a pressing question? There just seems to be extra energy around you.
Wait, are you
I'm just
talking to
checking.
me?
Yeah.
Yes, okay, thank you. I submitted on the dashboard. I'm sorry,
Okay,
my stuff. Okay, so
you're
I
fine.
ran a webinar in Avio. I'm
Yeah.
gonna have it as a recurring webinar, but I wasn't thinking when I set it up. I set it up under the the event, not the event name, but the login name that I really want to use for my signature program.
Okay.
Not my webinar. But it's already in there. It worked. It went well. And now I had a couple questions. One is if I really want to use that domain or the name for my signature
Yep.
program, does it make
Yep.
sense to clone the dashboard and use a different one for my future webinars?
Okay. You've got a
So
couple of
that's
options, and yeah, really, it just depends on. And so, Carol, I'll come
What's
back
up?
to
Okay,
yours. I just,
I'm here. I'm here.
yeah, yeah. I just wanted to get to Marla. So it depends on whether when you're reusing, um, essentially what happens is you can change the one that you've already got,
okay.
change that to something else, which then releases that name to be able to be used on another event, right? So you can totally just change it to 25 or whatever it is, and then you can use it for your other event. Now, what happens, of course, is that anybody's old links that they had will no longer work, right?
That's what, yeah. Okay.
And you just have to consider if that's a big problem or not. So what can
Okay.
happen with that is that when someone they use an old link,
Yep.
it'll go to the login screen. Now,
Okay.
the login screen for that event, you could set to allow people to just enter their email address and then they will enter,
That's
right?
what I have it set at right now
Okay, great.
because, yeah, so I think that's how it's set now, but that's not super secure. I don't know. Do you recommend that?
Well, it's secure to the point that someone else would need to know the email address of someone that is registered,
Okay,
right?
gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
If
the
if
issue
that's how you've
is
got it set.
I have it set up to integrate with Go High Level,
Okay.
but in the email sequence, I think there wasn't enough of a delay. So then when it was sending, the Obvio link wasn't connecting. So instead of using their unique magic link, I used the dashboard
I
address.
see.
So I don't know if that's recommended, not recommended.
Well, let me ask you this. The one that you want to use, the domain name that you want to use,
Yes.
um, the event that has already been ran on that,
Yep.
do people need to come back to the dashboard? Like, is that they don't?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So, um, so here's something you can do is you you have the option to be able to make the event offline to take it offline. you've got
Okay.
two
I see
options
that.
here, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
So you can create an offline page in Obvio, which is just where you can say, hey, the event's finished. Here's the details of the next event. Sign up
Okay.
page will be available soon, right? Like you could do. So let me just quickly show you that
Should I?
in
Okay.
in design offline
Yep.
page, right? So
Yep.
and you can customize this however you want.
Okay.
Now there is an option to see in here redirect to another URL. So if you already
Hmm.
have a sign up page or a whatever some sort of page you would prefer to send people to, then you can put
Mm-hmm.
that in. So essentially, what would happen then is if they were to go using their magic link that they were sent before, if they would go to click on that, which
Yep.
you have now put on your new event,
Yep.
right? Because you want to, that's how
Right.
you want to use the domain. Before you have it going, you could have it go to redirect. In order to do this, you either have the event page content set here,
Mm-hmm.
or you have it redirect. And in order for the offline page to be active in the event settings, you turn it offline.
Okay.
Event settings offline,
What,
and now
what?
your offline happens.
Okay. So I think there's two things. One is I'm having like my signature coaching program that's going to be 6 months, and that's the domain that I want to use for the
Yep.
one I set up the masterclass. And then for the masterclass, it's going to be a recurring kind of every week type thing to
Yep.
to promote the coaching program. So in that scenario, would you recommend two different domains or like tagging and all that? I was thinking
Yeah.
two different
Yeah. Two different events in Obvio.
two
Yeah.
different events. Okay.
Yep.
All
Makes it much easier, and of course it'll make it easier in high level as well,
right. Okay.
because it'll be two different tags, right?
Correct. Okay. So now the people who have the tag, can I change the tag? Because now I have people who are in the what's going to be the coaching program event who were actually masterclass people. Or I could just remove their tag in high level. There's not that many people. That's probably my best, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
you can just remove them. I was just trying to think if it generates uh a new tag when you disconnect, which it may do. Um yeah. Uh I'll just show you, since you mentioned this about high level as well. This is something that I do, which has a couple of safety nets in it. And so when a contact's created, so we're looking at high level at the moment for people playing along. But this is similar for lots of the CRMs, is that
Yep.
a contact's created, which means that they've filled out a form,
Mm-hmm.
or you might have a slightly different trigger if they're already an existing contact. But it's adding the tag, which for me is
Yep.
the tag from my event. Ignore this one. This is just something that I get a notification in Slack that tells me that someone signed up and tells me what it is.
I kind of like
What I do,
okay.
you what, say?
I say I kind of like that, but keep going.
Yeah, it is. It is cool. Yeah. Um, so then this technically should not be necessary, but I do it
Okay.
because it's working for me. Right. I wait a minute,
Okay.
and that is simply just a wait 1 minute.
Yep.
It's time
Yep.
delay. Wait. That's it. That's all it is. Um,
Okay.
then I'm doing a wait for the URL, and this is where it's waiting for the condition of your URL, is what I called it,
Okay.
is not empty. So now what it's doing is it's making sure that the of your URL is not empty before it proceeds.
Okay. And
All
the
right.
Obvio URL, is that their login
Yes, that's the magic link from Obvio.
magic link? Okay.
Yeah. And
Okay.
so remember, in Obvio, we've got the integration set up with Go High Level, and we're provided the tag there.
Yes.
And this was the one that I used. And so now that's how it connects, and it sends it through.
Okay.
And then waiting. The condition is that it's that yes. So you see here, you can do a condition and then a timeout.
Okay.
And the timeout is just to say if it's waiting for 20 minutes, it's too long. So after 20 minutes, if it still hasn't got the URL, then
Okay.
internal notification for me is send me an email address, send me an email to say that it's not working.
Okay.
Right. So see how there's just a couple of safety nets in this whole process.
Yes.
And then you're really aware. Otherwise, and this is what generally happens, is it goes through, it waits a minute before it does its even first check. And
Okay.
99% of the time, it's going to get its URL. It double checks that it's got the URL, and then it sends the email. And you know that it won't send the email unless it has the URL.
Okay. Okay. And it's
And so
literally
then
just that 1 minute is enough time, usually. Like, you
yes,
recommend
yeah.
like 3 minutes, 5 minutes, or 1 minute's
No,
good?
no, 1 minute is fine. It's the rare exception that there's some other delay, either with Obvio or with High Level, right? Because there can be some delays there. Generally, it'll happen within seconds, right? Like it's a couple of seconds and it's done.
Okay.
I've like Justin and others I was talking to were like, you shouldn't need that wait 1 minute. It should just do this. But I've just found
Okay.
if I just add an extra minute there, it just seems to work better. And so
Okay.
that's why and a minute is no big deal for them to wait for their welcome email, right?
Right. Right.
It's
Perfect.
no big problem. Um,
Okay. That's super helpful.
so that's that. Look, and the reusing of the domain is not a huge deal, particularly if you send an update email to people as well, right? Hey, thanks for attending the last event. The links are now deactivated. If you want access to XYZ or the next thing, here's the link to go to. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and if they happen to click an old link that you've now reused the domain, they're just going to hit the login page, and on that login page, you may just want to have, hey, if you're looking to sign up, or if you're, whatever it is, go here, and now you've kind of given them breadcrumbs for them to be able to, get to where they need to.
Okay.
Is that making
So
sense?
I think so. So my steps in this process, I totally get the high level like integration. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to work on that workflow. And then for the dashboard that I'd like to be my signature dashboard, just keep it or change the name of that one. Like, how would you clone it and change the name, or keep it and
Yeah, it
rename?
depends on how much work you've done, and which one. It's probably a clone and makes it easier.
Yeah. Okay.
And because you're kind of starting off with no attendees essentially in both anyway. Like
Right.
it's you're not really moving your attendees over.
Okay.
And so therefore, yeah, you clone it, and then reuse it, and then this way you don't actually probably need to rename the domain. You just take over the existing one and now make that, yeah, you
And
could sort of,
remove my attendees.
yeah, yeah, and
Okay.
just start again.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
And then I'll
and then
just change the
create your
link
new
in
one.
my level.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Perfect. Perfect.
So you duplicate
Thank
and
you.
away you go.
And then
No
my
worries.
last super quick question is,
Yep.
as I'm have the new event and I'm doing weekly webinars, say,
Mhm.
is there a way to tag who comes on which dates? Because their high level tag will all be the same with the event, right? Or do I need to
Yeah.
do that? Would you?
It's nice to know, right?
Yeah.
So the way to play around with this is in Zoom attendance. Two different things actually. Let me say. I'll give you the belt and suspenders options. So the first thing that you can do is each week you can change. So see, this is the dashboard we're using for today.
Right.
Join the Q&A call. Because you're because you connected to high level, there'll be an option here that'll say go high level tag, right? At the moment, this is saying Zapier because we've got it connected to that. This is just simply on the button. The button is joining the area. This is main stage. This is very straightforward. It's just that's how they're getting into Zoom.
Yep.
But here you could add a tag like June 25. Does that make sense? So what happens now is anybody that clicks that button will get the tag June 25.
Okay.
So that's the most basic option because they may not have gone into Zoom. Chances are they did, right? Because they've clicked the link, and it's that's how they're going to get into Zoom. So what you know for sure is the inverse. If someone hasn't got June 25th, they definitely didn't go, right? So from a data collection point of view, you know absolutely that there was no way for them to get into the meeting without them being tagged with that.
Okay. Yep.
And so that's the most basic way of doing it, and works.
Okay. Perfect.
The other option and more robust way is by using the Zoom attendance statistics.
Yep.
What happens here is that you can I think if I can do something quickly.
I actually ran this today for the first time. It's so helpful. I was able to see who logged in and how long they were there, what time they logged in, what time they left. It was amazing. Good data.
Yeah. Yes, it really is. Let me think what oh, I've gone 26. Look, I am getting ahead of myself here. The problem with this event is that it's been going for years, and so when you try to look at something, so we say that. Let's go 5. I just need to be able to bring up some data so that I can show you. Oh, that's annoying, isn't it? Actually, let's just see if that will work. Yeah, there we go. All right. So now, just like you're saying, if I come into a single, I don't know if you knew you could zoom in like this too. All right. So you can.
I did not know that. This is super helpful.
Yeah.
The only way I saw it was an export.
Right. So here's the thing now, right? So now we can see that we had, 12 people, 13 people joined the event. Thank you. Joined the event, and they're the stats for one particular meeting that happened. Now, attendee actions here. See this. So yeah, export it and get the details of how long people are there. But what you're looking at here is add an external tag. So here it's going to say, once again, it won't say Zapier, it will say go high level because that's what you've got connected. You'll add the the tag that you want it to call it. It's June 25th, or it's, whatever it is. And then then you can hit confirm, and that will, like this is saying, it will go and make the tag for the 17 people.
Awesome.
Now, you have also this option, which is advanced attendee filters, where you can say only if they were there for 50% of the time, give them a tag, right? Now, you could do multiple tags. So you could say, yes, they were there on the 25th, but I now want to make another one that is not only were they there on the 25th, but they were there for the whole time, like the whole window of time that I've set.
Super warm leads.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
100%. And so that's why, and specifically for longer events, the advantage of this is that you can say, this is when I made a pitch, or this was a key time, that whatever it is, this is the key content time, and I want to know whether they were there then or not. So during this half an hour, were they there for my pitch, right?
Okay.
And so now, once again, you've got really good data when in go high level. You can create marketing campaigns directly to people that were and weren't there for specific events and specific time during that event. Another advanced level move is that everything I just talked about, you can also schedule, which is pretty cool, ahead of time. So you can, you can say, I want to schedule this to happen, and all that is it happens in here. So you'd say that you want to do the tag, and then instead of hitting confirm and make the tag now, you can hit schedule it and say, when do you want the tag to happen? So it's pretty cool, right? Because
like a ninja move. I love it.
It totally is. And before your event has even happened, you can just say, all right, I want to schedule this, which all this also requires is that you're setting this into the future, right?
Okay.
So I want to say it's on July, in July, and whatever it is, we create a time. So see, I've now got a time window that's in the future. Of course, there's no data there, but I can now go and say, July, schedule it. When do I want it to actually happen? That's going to be just after it. And I could say, yeah, let's make it just after it.
Wow.
And schedule it. And now that'll just happen. And so the advantage with all of this is that anything that can be done before event day is a massive advantage, right? And so you can do this weeks ahead and go, yeah, I want that all to happen, and then know that that's going to happen automatically. So
this is really incredible. Thank you so much. I had no idea you could do all of that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problems at all. Cool. All right, we've answered those. All right, Carol, thank you for your patience. You're muted now. I didn't want
I unmuted myself.
both technically and physically. Is that what happened, Carol? You had to.
I don't know. I just hit it,
you muted yourself in your room as well.
In my life.
In your life. Yeah. All right. So we were talking about broadcasts. And so under communications and broadcast, if we were to go to a new broadcast. So you're seeing a whole bunch of old ones on this event because I've used it for that.
No,
But
but I'm talking about, aren't I going to go through the dashboard? Don't I go, if I want to
yeah,
send in an, oh, okay, go ahead.
this is
Show me.
this is how you're sending. This is the easiest way to
Okay,
send. Well, I mean, easiest way for 10 people, you could do an export of your attendees,
right.
and you could manually send them. You could send from your own email address. You could send them all their own links, right? For 10 people. And
Maybe I should just,
that's
Grant, honestly, maybe I should just do that now and make it easy for myself.
it's super easy. Yeah. So you go to attendees
Right.
and you go to
I have,
export, right?
right, right,
And and you'll get a spreadsheet, and it'll have their first name, last name, email, and their
right,
login. You just copy and
right.
paste and send it in. So you can totally do
Okay.
that.
That's what I'm
Um,
gonna do.
okay.
Yeah,
Well, I
I
won't.
have to do it
Uh,
as easy as possible.
sure. Yeah. And that can work this time. And then inevitably, when your event grows to more people, then you don't want to do that, and you've got a couple of other options.
Okay,
In the meantime, you might be sure that Kit is working for you, and then you can do it through Kit. So
okay,
that would be the best process
okay.
there.
Okay,
All
great.
right.
Thank you.
No worries.
Thanks.
Cool. You're welcome. All right.
Hey, Grant.
Hello, Muddy.
For Carol, do you also want to show her in the attendee record how to find an
I can
individual
just do it there.
person's magic link, just in
Sure.
case,
Yeah,
you have
that's
someone and they're
okay.
like, hey, I can't get in. And you're like, okay, let me grab your link and send it to you right now.
Okay.
That seems like a useful thing to know.
Thank you. Okay, great, Muddy.
Thank you, Muddy. Muddy's doing some backseat driving there. Thank you.
He's the best
Uh,
backseat driver ever.
um, yep. So you're right, Muddy, because you just have a list of here we go. So you come into your attendees, you click on the name of a person, and
Wait,
then
hold on. Yeah,
to attendees,
right,
um, you click on the name of the person in attendees,
right.
and then the link is right at the top there.
Yeah,
And you can press this button here to copy it,
right.
go to your email and paste.
Okay, I got it. Okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good.
So
I see.
you can do the
Yeah,
export and have it all in a
right.
spreadsheet and have them all there, or you could just go here and just find
And
it
do that. Okay.
and do it that way.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Okay.
No worries. All right. I'll just double check if anyone's put any other questions in. Nope. You're doing some building, Muddy. Is this studio or is it yours? What's happening?
We're moving my college age daughter from one house to another. So we spent all day fixing, spackling and repainting walls in the old house, and now we're moving into the new place.
Nice. Nice work. All right. Becky, hello.
No, I've been absent from the Friday and Wednesday, so you haven't seen me. But I have a question since you're on here. Random, I had somebody actually give me an idea yesterday about doing an online expo. Um, and in Obvio, in my mind, how many rooms can you have open at one time in one dashboard?
So it depends on the plan that you're on. But
Uh,
the pro and elite plan is 5. You can have 5 Zoom meetings open at once, included in the plan, and then
okay,
you can pay for as many more that you want. Right, so you add on
okay,
and you'll pay essentially $50 for each room that you add for the month. So you have an extra room for the whole month.
Oh, for the whole month. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I just had this idea for an expo, and I'm like, I mean, it'd probably be 20 or 30 different rooms because they're different vendors.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, it's a cool way
okay.
of doing it. It always depends on how many attendees you expect.
Yeah,
Um,
I would think 200 is what I would go for. Like, sorry,
okay.
200. Um, 200. This is what my idea was: 200 attendees, and then I would say anywhere from 20, 25 vendors, and
Yep.
then there would be a main stage where there's speakers.
Okay.
So, anyway,
Yep.
just wanted to know if it was possible.
It totally is possible, and people have done it in a variety of different ways.
Uh-huh.
You can. I have seen people do it in breakout rooms in their main meeting, and so it is possible to
Oh,
set
can
up
you do it through
in.
just breakout rooms, not just an extra Zoom?
You totally can, because, and I'll tell you, there's some pros and cons, right? So you can set up, when you open breakout rooms, you can say allow people to choose,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So then they'll get a list of all the breakout rooms, they'll see all the vendors, and they can jump in, they can go for it. That can work, and could be an easy way to do it. So the pro of that is that people are just staying in that one Zoom meeting, they don't move around, and it's super easy. They could just pick it and jump in.
Mm-hmm.
One disadvantage is that, depending on some of the vendors themselves may want to do breakout rooms, right? Which is not uncommon, right? Because what would happen is, if they're using their own meeting, and so now you've got the 20 different Zoom meetings,
Mm-hmm.
what it means is they can have their own kind of lobby. And then if they have a real, a hot lead with someone, they want to spend some time and do some one-on-one discussion with them, they can create their own breakout room within their own booth, their own virtual
Right,
booth,
right.
right? And now they can have multiple meetings. They can even schedule meetings and say, come at this time, all of that. They've kind of got their own space, and they can do whatever they want. It also is easy then to track, because those leads, you can do Zoom attendance, and you can give them their leads. Here's all the
Mm-hmm.
people and their contact details for who
Ah, they go to their room.
clicked on the link and went in. Yeah, now you've got a deliverability for them, and so
For breakout rooms and another, that's only if they have their own room
correct.
attached,
That's right.
not
Yeah,
if they're a
yeah,
breakout room.
that's right. No, it's
Oh,
not.
I see.
Not if there's breakout room.
Yeah, so the
Yeah,
advantage.
that's a big
Well,
advantage.
you could give them an option to say, hey, it's this much for this and this much for that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it depends on how much time you're doing as well. Like,
Hmm.
sometimes if we're just doing a lunchtime
Yeah.
expo, then if it's only that sort of amount of time, you may think that breakout rooms might work. If you're doing longer time, this is the other thing, is that if you want, if you're happy for people to miss the main session and
Yeah.
to be talking with a vendor, then this is a good way to do it, having it separate as well, right?
I mean,
So
having another Zoom room.
yes,
Yeah, because I would
because
think, I mean, it's just like a regular expo, right? Like they don't
right,
have to be listening to the main speaker.
yeah,
They can go and check the vendors. Although I really want to encourage them because they'll be anyway, I was just thinking this out in my head. So
yeah.
um
You send notifications and say, hey, the main session's about to start, whatever. You could
yeah,
do
yeah,
all of
yeah.
that, right? So that
Okay.
people can come. So there's some good ways of doing it. The thing
Okay.
is too, that you've got oversight. In Ovio, you can see all the open rooms, you can see how many people are in them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and actually, it's a little known fact, perhaps, for some people, is that in the Obvio admin, you can end a meeting as well, which is quite cool. If you wanted to, if you were saying that at this specific time we don't want any vendors
Any of the
to be
vendors,
meeting
yeah.
with people, we want them to all be back in the main stage, then
Yeah.
you can force close all the vendors'
Yeah.
rooms, right? So there's
Kick
a
them
few
out.
tricks there. Muddy, you've got some thoughts on it?
Yeah, just some other considerations, and I've done this with some events and some clients before. So we've done expos like this, and one of the things to consider is there is a page in Obvio that is the sponsors page, right? It's kind of dedicated as a sponsors page. One of the things that's unique about that page, as opposed to the speakers page or the FAQ, is you can actually have buttons on each sponsor page that go to their Zoom rooms, right? So you would
Right.
actually, rather than having all those buttons on the dashboard, you could first go to the sponsor, scroll through the sponsor and be like, oh, I want to meet with this sponsor. Click the button right there, and you go into the Zoom room with that sponsor right there.
Right.
So you've got the whole sponsor post along with their button right there. So that's a nice way to do that. The other kind of thing to be aware of is when you start a Zoom meeting, you need a computer to start that Zoom meeting, right? So there's a little bit of a logistical question. Now you can get a sponsor in that room with you, and then you can leave, make them the host, and you can leave.
Right.
But you'd have to do that 25 times if or figure out another way for those sponsors to be able to get into those rooms, short of you having 25 computers set up with one in each of those rooms. So
You
there's a
can't give
couple
them
different ways to do
admin.
it. It's just,
You can.
yeah, I mean, you can, but then that just adds a different element. You'd have to teach them
Yeah.
then how to get through the audio backend and open the room. So just a couple
Right.
considerations. It's not as easy as
Okay.
them clicking a button and going to the room if the room's not already open and waiting for them, basically.
Right.
So
Right. Interesting. Okay.
yeah.
All right.
It's
Okay.
it's super
Well, good.
it's super valuable though too, because I will just say that there are some big advantages to doing virtual booths than in-person booths. And an example of that is that you could have 25 people. If you have 25 people at a physical booth, 3 people can hear and the rest can't hear a thing. When they're in a virtual booth, you can have 100 people and they're all hearing the pitch, and then they could break off into breakout rooms with different salespeople and whatever, and they can manage all that really well. And it's a very different sort of experience. They can do great demos. They can do screen sharing and stuff that works really well. There's lots of big advantages for vendors.
Yeah,
Lots
well,
of them
I mean, I just did a
don't get
booth
it.
a couple weeks ago, and I was talking to somebody because I'm in the divorce space, and I was just thinking, oh my gosh, like somebody brought up something yesterday, and of course, she doesn't know the technology that, with Avio and all that stuff and the virtual events, and I'm thinking, man, this would be I mean, not that I need another project right now. However, it's good to know. I always like to do a lot of research to go, okay, so when the time's right, I think this would be a viable option. Um, yeah, so
Yeah. I mean, there's a bit
it's
of anonymity there as well for some people that might be a little bit apprehensive. And so,
yeah,
that can help too.
I
They can
think it
kind
would
of
be
lurk a
valuable to
little
have
bit.
their own breakout room. So I think, and then they get
I think so too.
their own list, and they get, and actually that's just an advantage. So when I'm selling the booth, I'll be like, hey, here's the situation, and
Yeah, and the
interesting.
other thing, as Muddy was saying with the sponsors page, is that if the onus is on the vendor to open the Zoom room, then the good thing with that is they show up when they show up. They have it open if they have it open. If they don't have it open, there's an offline page, and you can offer that offline page can have some extra content on it as well, or a link off to something else. And so now you're not babysitting all of your vendors. They're either
Mm-hmm.
there or they're not. And so you want them
Mm-hmm.
to be there. They've spent good money to be there. Then they
Mm-hmm.
manage their time. You know, it's often a weird thing for me. It was like if we were doing this in person, you'd be there 16 hours a day.
I
But when we
know.
ask you to do it for virtual, they're like, "What? I need to be there for 2 hours?" It's like, "Whoa, I can't do that." You know, it's
Yeah,
like,
and mine
"What
would
do
be
you
an all
mean?"
day thing. I mean, why
Yeah,
would you not? I mean, if nobody's in your room, then you
totally,
can keep working. You know what I mean? Like, if somebody
exactly.
comes
That's
in,
what
you
I
go,
think.
"Hey, how are you?"
Yeah,
People are so funny. They don't understand the basic 101 in marketing and sales.
right.
Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, I know. I totally get
yeah,
it. I know.
yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I've got to run in and get some stuff and head out to my
No
next
worries.
appointment. But appreciate you being here.
No
I'm gonna
worries.
make an effort to be back on Fridays.
It's a good question.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye, Becky. Hello, Miriam. Hello. Go ahead. Yes, Miriam.
Hey, Grant, thank you.
Hey.
I haven't been around.
Oh.
My brain has turned to Obvio mush, so I need a bit of help.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Last year when I first started, I was all in. I had a lot of time. I went through all of the series through the member hub.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering if there's anywhere else or anything new that's been sort of shared about how to work with Obvio because I'm going to start refreshing. And then also, I have a team member that I need to get sort of up to date a
Okay.
little bit for use it. So what can you share with me?
Mm-hmm.
Any?
There. Uh, I think that there are uh the the functions that are required to execute your event is
Mhm.
one thing. I think probably 80% of what you want to know about Obvio is building the dashboard. You know what I mean? It's like, what do we need for that? Because there's that 20% that's like, how do I go and open the Zoom room on the day? You know, those sorts of things. But I think 80% of it is actually just building the dashboard. And so just recently, as in within the last few months, Blue has done um, uh, some dashboard builds for people, and
Okay.
we've got those available to watch. Um, and I think you will find those particularly helpful. So let me
Yeah,
give
that sounds
you,
perfect because
yeah,
there's two main areas that I'm looking at. I mean, building the dashboard is pretty intuitive, right? I mean, if you've built
yep,
websites and things like that, it's fairly intuitive. Um,
mhm,
we're in the middle of deciding which platform we're going to use, whether it's what do we have here? Go High Level or HubSpot.
okay,
Um, to connect in. So that's sort of another area that I'll need to focus in on. And then, of course, the tags. If someone understands tags in Go High Level or HubSpot, it's going to connect in with Obvio. So it's pretty,
yes,
uh, again, fairly intuitive for someone who's technical, right? But
hmm,
still, just knowing that there's a refresher course for me because I would like to know what they need to do and
hmm,
direct. They're super techy. This person is a super tech.
okay,
And still, it doesn't matter because there's so much to offer through Obvio that I want to make sure we're taking full advantage of how to work with the system once we start to have virtual events. So you just sent
sounds
those
great.
links.
Yes,
Uh,
I would also. It's a little bit older now, but then there's not much that has changed.
okay.
And I should do another one. But there's a walkthrough that I did um at the start of last year. Um,
I
and
I
you
think I watched that,
might have watched that
but
one. Yeah. And
but
so
still,
yeah. And this is the thing, is that it was really just like, this is what this does, not necessarily this is how to use it and here's all the ways of using it. It was more like, just so you're aware, this is what this does. There still
And
is the advantage of the ones that you watched with Blue, all those workshop sessions.
yes.
One thing that's handy about those is that there is a really good search feature in that, and you can
Okay.
search the transcript, right? And so it could be that you watch the walkthrough, or you have your team member watch the walkthrough, and then you're like, okay, actually, I want to hone in on this, and so you could be like, HubSpot, we've landed on that, and so we can now go to those workshops, type in HubSpot, and you're going to get to that where it's specifically talking about that. I would say, if you're just for what it's worth, I think that Go High Level is pretty aggressive in the market at the moment,
Right.
and their pricing and
Hey, everybody.
and their functionality, um, and and so and I've just been, I had a small event that I was like, actually, I'm going to set it up on High Level and just play with it, use it, have a real world use case. And I'm pretty impressed with it. Like it is really good. So if you're on the fence, I don't know
I
what
am
metrics you're going to use.
I am I am so on the fence that I can't even get off of it. Like I keep looking at both of them and I don't know enough, and I was going to try and ask. So I appreciate this feedback, because the point of why I'm looking at both of them is because we're going to start having a lot of virtual events. And that's a really big part of it, but also being able to have a work with all of the social media and everything. And it just seems to me like Go High Level might be less expensive.
Yeah,
Um,
I think it is.
you
I
know,
think their marketing, their pricing is quite competitive.
because HubSpot, for the level that these people from this marketing team that I'm working with, um, it can cost like $5,000 a month almost. It's insane.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it can
So,
add up.
so the Go High Level
this
and
is
HubSpot,
this is kind
yeah,
of what we're comparing, right? It
right,
kind of is. Because you can, there are differences, and there are specific tasks that some of these do that others don't,
right.
but generally these are all about bashing things. And that's kind of what you're looking for with your CRM. You're probably not going to make a huge mistake when you're picking it. And so there's a few things about High Level that I just like at the moment. And I think is it the mastermind uses High Level as well. There's a couple that there's quite a few. There's a few white labels services that are called something else that are actually just using High Level. And so you might see some of those in the market a little bit. So
And
yeah,
also I think my perspective is that I'm seeing a lot of people within the LEAP program using Go High Level like that. I don't
yeah,
hear them saying HubSpot often,
mhm.
and um, so it's probably better to go with Go High Level for the integration
I think
into
so.
audio,
Yeah,
right?
I think so. And you're going to have more people that are able to share tips and and workflows and ways of doing it.
And you never know when
So
you're gonna have someone walk away and you got to get somebody else to take care of it. That's the other thing.
yeah,
Always have a
yeah,
backup plan. So I
yeah,
appreciate that. I
yeah.
have the three the Obvio
The three
walkthrough,
links. Yep, yep.
um
So
Obvio
then there's
dashboard, and then walkthrough with Liz and Blue. So that's
yeah,
awesome.
hmm
I will take
yeah. There's
time
a
and
G.
go through
That's
that.
right. Jimbo's walkthrough and there's and Liz's walkthrough. And I think, yeah, it is a bit more, like you said, it is intuitive and they're, about how to build it. But there's just things that you pick up when you watch, particularly Blue building out a dashboard. Yeah. So
Okay. Thank you very much. I have to run because I'm going to Peter's boot camp for
nice.
Thank you. Thank you, Grant. Great to see
No
everyone.
worries.
All right. Okay, take care.
Bye-bye. All right. Hey, Sarah. I've seen you for a little while. What are you messing around with at the moment?
Not really anything. I mean, we're just kind of still doing about the same things with our dashboard. Just weekly meetings every Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So you're just trying to make sure you're not missing anything?
Yeah. It's working out really good. So.
Good. I didn't mention to people that we have pushed the update now that does in the Zoom areas, the name has changed from registration to direct access, which makes me happy because registration was very confusing.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's one thing you can see here now. Direct area access, and then you'll see the direct room access as opposed to registration links, which is a bit more clear about what that is. Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. So did you have any questions at all, Sarah?
Well, my dad was wondering when the next virtual event was. Virtual event on virtual events.
Oh yeah. I haven't heard the exact dates. Muddy, do you know, have they said their dates yet? He might not be listening.
That's for TVE. Is that what you're asking about?
Yeah. TV.
Yes.
I think they have. Let me go check real quick.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's see. Cool. Muddy will find it. Anything else?
No?
No. Cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. And I think Muddy might have had a question there from Muddy that I missed as well. So we'll see. Hello, Amy. All right. Let me just see. Muddy did write something here. Have a client event coming up with multiple partner sponsors who will be inviting the attendees. The client would like the dashboard to showcase the partner who is associated with each. Oh yeah, showing the sponsor logo. So I want to design element to show based on a rule. So a template where this could be properly shown above the fold. Imagine a blog.
Yeah, the main
showing.
gist is we want to showcase different sponsors on the dashboard based on a tag, right? So for the sponsors for this event, they're actually the ones who are inviting the attendees, right? So these 50 attendees are here because of this sponsor. These 20 attendees are here because of this sponsor. So we'll do several things. We'll put them in a room together. So we'll have rules based on which rooms they go into so that everyone within that sponsor kind of has their own room.
Yep.
But one of the things that we want to do is when they get to the dashboard, we want to showcase that sponsor, right? Welcome guests of so-and-so, right? Something. And so I know that I can have visibility rules set up for a post, for a blog post, so that different people will see different blog posts.
Yep.
but I don't think I'm not aware of any rules for any of the elements that are kind of at the top of the dashboard, right? Like I can't have a different background based on a visibility rule, so that I can't have a different logo based on a visibility rule that I'm aware of. And so I'm just thinking through the different templates and thinking, well, maybe town hall has something that is kind of more the template we've used for this client in the past is it's not panels, it's cards, right? So you've got this kind of 2 rows of buttons that are front and center at the top. Everything else you have to kind of scroll down to see. So that doesn't really showcase the sponsor until you scroll down, and then you see the blog post from the sponsor. So I'm just thinking about, is there any template that has some kind of customizable element higher up on the dashboard? That's kind of the root of my question, if that makes sense.
Yeah. If we think, if what we're thinking about is the elements that can be customized with visibility rules, posts, buttons, and resources, or like the sidebar. So think about that. So if you were to use, one of the things I think about is panels, because on panels you've got a side panel, and then you've got blog posts kind of front and center right at the top. You know what I mean? And
same
so,
thing with Nifty 50. You'd have that. You could have a
correct.
blog post right up towards the top.
Yeah. Now see that, right? This would all be generic, but this could be, you would have essentially a custom welcome post for every person, right? So for every sponsor, right? For every group.
Yep.
And that could work quite well. I'm just going to say goodbye to my kids. So just give me a couple of seconds here. You can talk amongst yourselves.
And I'm looking for the TBE dates. I thought I had them, but I couldn't find them. So I'm going to continue to look for them.
Thank you.
I found them. They are September 11th, 12th, and 13th. So let's make sure the 11th is a Thursday. It is. So 11th, 12th, and 13th of September.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. The other thing I'm thinking about for this customization is that the button itself to join the main stage could be customized for each sponsor as well. It means I would have, 5 copies or 10 copies of the button, and each group would only be able to kind of see one version of that button, and they all lead to the same place. They all lead to the main stage, but it would have, it could have some customization on the button itself. We were just talking amongst ourselves, Grant. I was saying
Very good.
that the button itself could have some customization. Oh, and I did tell Sarah that the TBE 10 is September 11, 12, 13.
Right. Cool. Yeah, that's what I was going to mention as well, is that particularly because in a button you are able to upload an image, right? So now you could use buttons as logos, and you could have, if you designed it in a particular way, you could have a button that is not obvious that it's a button. So it is a way that you could slot a logo in there.
Yep.
Or you have a little logo next to the, join Zoom button, join main stage button, that type of idea. So I reckon between that,
especially if they're going to be in that sponsor's room, right? So yeah, they're all joining the main stage, but I'm going to be in sponsor number one's room, right? So we're all
that's right. I was
together.
going to say,
So the fact that the button says, join the sponsor's room.
That's right.
Aligns with
join
that.
the Walmart room, and
yeah, exactly.
Here you are.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Is there any potential that they might be confused that there are all these people in this room, that the sponsor has 500 people, not the 40 that he invited? Or
you can have separate rooms anyway.
Yeah, and the idea for this is that the client is really hoping to ultimately attract thousands of people to these sessions. So there needs to be multiple rooms anyway, just to accommodate that many people. Right. And it may not, a sponsor may have 500 people. And these are ultimately the attendees are real estate agents, and the sponsors are the MLS systems, which are how properties are searched and how real estate agents interact and find properties and list their properties. They list those on MLS systems. And this is going to be a nationwide kind of a mastermind event where the speakers are going to be a panel of some of the all-stars in the real estate world. So there'll be a draw. Yeah, there'll be a big draw to come and listen in and be able to interact with these all-stars. And I'm coming through the Triangle MLS system, and so we may have 500 people in the Triangle MLS system who are at this event, and Atlanta's MLS system may have 500 people, and so it could actually be multiple rooms of people per sponsor, just because we also want to have breakout rooms, and the breakout rooms we want to limit to 5 to 6 people. So as a practical consideration, we only want 500 or 600 people max per room. And if there's thousands of people from one area, we may need multiple rooms. So a fair amount of logistics to pull this one off, and a fair amount of team, but it could be a really neat experience. And one of the first steps, and the reason I'm asking this question now, is because we want to put together a prototype dashboard to be able to show some of these sponsors who are paying in to help, make this whole thing happen. We want to say, we want to show them, here's how you're going to be featured, right, in your, and so, could be cool.
I was going to say it'd be neat if you could somehow get like background for like everybody from the same sponsor has the same background, or.
Oh, well, and Grant didn't mention it, but that is another one of the things that you can have visibility rules set up for. So even though everybody may have a button that says, Zoom backgrounds, the backgrounds that you actually see in there can be limited based on tags, or you can have rules set up to show the visibility, which we often do for VIPs, for instance, that there's some VIP backgrounds that only VIPs see. But in this case, you could have those by MLS. Yeah, that's a neat idea.
Yeah, and of course, labels as well, right? You could have emoji, different emojis and things like that.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, there's lots of different ways, and of course, all of this relies heavily on the data, and having that correct, and having all the tags correct, making sure that all of that flows through properly. And the consideration is how you manage if that isn't right, what happens as a default without a tag. And maybe that's
Yeah,
never,
and
maybe it's
there
not
may be
possible.
some general attendees.
Yeah, right.
So, and just kind of to finish out the thought experiment of having rooms that have tags, one of the important things that I've learned, unfortunately, I haven't, well, I don't even know why I'm saying this out loud, that I haven't been bit by this yet, but when you have a room that has a rule, it's very important to have another rule that says if you don't have any of those
That's
other
all.
tags,
Uh-huh.
go to this room. Otherwise, people that don't have one of those rules don't have a room to go to and they can't get
It's
in.
offline.
So,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
right.
it's offline. Yep.
Yeah. Yep, that's true. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good use case. And I really do think that you could customize that heavily, and make it really really pop with the sponsor's details. So
Yeah, I'm glad I asked. Thanks for helping me think through that.
yeah, no worries.
All right,
Cool.
back to building.
Good work. I don't think we have any more questions that have been posted, so I think we might be calling it. Those are some good questions today. Got to dive in deep. Did I miss anything in the chat? I don't think so. September. Yes, September 11 to 13. Cool. Great. All right.
What a great
Thank you,
day.
everyone. Have a good night. All right.
Have a
Bye-bye.
good rest of your day.
Thank you. See ya.